Hello everyone, this video will explain who the warrior is and the background of the fighter who never lost a battle. Genghis Khan remains one of the most influential figures in world history, and centuries after his death, he continues to be a subject of controversy. As a leader, he was known for his generosity and unwavering loyalty to his followers, always open to advice from various sources in his quest for world domination. However, to his enemies, Genghis Khan was the embodiment of cruelty and brutality. Many in Europe, Russia, and other nations regarded him as a ruthless and merciless tyrant. A warrior of the 12th century from Central Asia, Genghis Khan was the founder and first great Khan of the Mongol Empire. At its height, his empire became one of the largest in history, stretching from the Pacific Ocean to Europe, covering an area of approximately 33 million square kilometers, nearly 22% of the world's landmass. As a masterful strategist and leader, he built his empire from the ground up, uniting the Mongolian nomadic tribes under a disciplined and formidable military state. Yet much about Genghis Khan remains shrouded in mystery. For instance, his true appearance is unknown. It is said that he never permitted anyone to paint his portrait, carve his likeness, or imprint his face on coins. Any depictions of him that exist today were created posthumously by those who had never seen him. Furthermore, the location of his final resting place remains an unsolved enigma to this day. Temujin, later known as Genghis Khan, is believed to have been born around 1162 near the border of modern Mongolia and Siberia. According to Mongol legend, he was born clutching a blood clot in his hand, an omen that foretold his destiny as a great leader. His father, Yasuge, was the chief of the Borjigin clan, while his mother, Hoelun, came from another Mongol noble lineage. At the time, Mongolia was inhabited by rival nomadic tribes, and intertribal kidnappings were common. Hoelun herself had been abducted by Yasuge before becoming his wife, and from this union, Temujin and his siblings were born. Temujin's early years were fraught with hardship. At the age of 9, he was betrothed to Berta, the daughter of a Conqueror chieftain. However, tragedy struck when his father was poisoned by enemies, leading to the downfall of his family's influence. Many of Yasuge's followers abandoned the family, forcing Temujin, his mother, and his siblings to survive on the harsh Mongolian steppes. By the age of 14, he had killed his half-brother, Bektar, an event recorded in the secret history of the Mongols. At 16, he married Berta to strengthen ties with the Conqueror tribe. However, she was soon kidnapped by the Merkit, a rival tribe, and given to a chieftain as a wife. Temujin launched a successful rescue mission, and shortly afterward, Berta gave birth to their first son, Yochi. Berta was his principal wife and bore him 4 sons, who became his legitimate heirs. Around the age of 20, Temujin was captured in a raid by the Taijut tribe, former allies of his family, and was temporarily enslaved. However, with the help of a sympathetic captor, he managed to escape and regrouped with his brothers and loyal clan members, forming new alliances. Temujin's reputation as a formidable warrior attracted many followers. He steadily built an army of over 20,000 men, determined to unify the fractured Mongol tribes under one rule. Through a combination of brilliant military tactics and ruthless efficiency, he avenged his father's death by crushing the Tatar forces and ordering the execution of every Tatar male taller than 1 meter. Temujin triumphed over the Taijut tribe through a series of well-executed cavalry attacks. As a ruthless demonstration of power, he ordered the execution of their leader by boiling him alive. The Mongols' military superiority stemmed not only from their formidable warriors, but also from Temujin's brilliant strategy, which included an extensive spy network and the swift adoption of enemy technology. To strengthen his forces, Temujin implemented innovative military tactics and appointed leaders based on merit rather than family ties. He executed defeated tribal leaders while integrating their warriors into his own army. Additionally, he forbade his troops from looting until victory was fully secured, instilling strict discipline among his ranks. He also reorganized his soldiers into units of 10, disregarding kinship ties and enforcing a meritocratic system where leadership was earned through skill and loyalty. Though an animist himself, Temujin showed tolerance toward various religions, including Christianity, Islam, and Buddhism. By 1205, he had successfully subdued nearly all of Mongolia. The following year, in a grand assembly, he officially established a nation roughly the size of modern Mongolia and was bestowed the title of Genghis Khan, meaning universal ruler. As a leader, Genghis Khan introduced sweeping reforms, abolishing hereditary aristocratic privileges, outlawing the abduction and sale of women, and ending the enslavement of Mongols. He also imposed strict laws against livestock theft, implemented a writing system, conducted censuses, and granted religious freedom. Genghis Khan's first campaign beyond Mongolia began in 1209 with the conquest of the Xixia Kingdom in northwestern China. After securing their submission, his forces launched an assault on the Jin dynasty in northern China. This prolonged war significantly reduced the region's population. Meanwhile, Mongol forces also expanded westward, conquering border kingdoms and advancing into the Muslim world. At first, Genghis Khan sought to establish trade relations with the Khwarezm dynasty, a Turkish-dominated empire covering Turkestan, Persia, and Afghanistan. The Sultan initially agreed to a trade deal, but when the first caravan arrived, its goods were plundered and its merchants were slaughtered. To make matters worse, the Sultan executed several Mongol diplomats. Outraged by this insult, in 1219, Genghis Khan personally led and orchestrated a three-pronged assault with 200,000 Mongol troops aiming to annihilate the Khwarezm dynasty. The Mongol forces ravaged city after city with unprecedented brutality. No living being was spared, not even livestock or pets. The skulls of men, women, and children were stacked into massive pyramidal mounds as a grim symbol of destruction. Eventually, Sultan Muhammad Shah and his son were captured and executed, bringing the Khwarezm dynasty to an end in 1221. It was during this campaign that the Mongols earned their fearsome reputation as merciless conquerors, striking terror comparable to the devastation of a great plague. However, there was another side to Genghis Khan's conquests. He understood that in order to maintain control over his vast empire and ensure a steady flow of wealth, a stable system of governance was essential. As a result, many local rulers were allowed to remain in power as long as they pledged allegiance to the Mongol Empire. He also implemented religious tolerance, promoted international trade, and provided protection for traveling merchants. His conquests facilitated an unprecedented level of commercial and cultural exchange across vast territories. Genghis Khan did not merely invade and plunder, he also built an efficient administrative system to govern his lands. He established fair legal codes and, despite being illiterate himself, adopted the Uyghur script as the official writing system of the Mongol Empire. He expanded trade and communication along the Silk Road, developed a reliable postal service, and introduced paper money. Under his leadership, the Mongol Empire grew into one of the largest empires in history, stretching from Eastern Europe to East Asia, encompassing most of Central Asia, northern China, and large parts of what is now modern-day Russia. Genghis Khan was not only a brutal conqueror, but also a leader who implemented efficient governance and facilitated trade and cultural exchange across Eurasia. He conquered more land than any other figure in history, forging connections between civilizations that had previously been isolated from one another. Genghis Khan's successors, including Ogadai and Kublai Khan, continued the Mongol expansion by conquering vast territories in Eastern Europe, the Middle East, and all of China. The Mongols even attempted invasions of Japan and Java before their empire eventually fractured in the 14th century. Genghis Khan passed away on August 18, 1227, due to an unknown illness, possibly stemming from injuries after falling off his horse while hunting a few months earlier. At that time, he was leading the siege of the Western Xia capital in northwest China. The news of his death was initially kept secret until the Mongols successfully captured the city and massacred its inhabitants. Before his passing, Genghis Khan appointed his son, Ogadai, as his primary successor, who later ruled most of East Asia, including China. Meanwhile, the Mongol Empire was divided among his other sons. Chagatai took control of Central Asia and northern Iran, while his youngest son, Tolui, governed the lands near the Mongol homeland. Batu, the son of Jochi and grandson of Genghis Khan, took over modern-day Russia and established the Golden Horde. In modern times, Genghis Khan remains a controversial figure. In the Muslim world, Russia, and Europe, he is remembered as a ruthless conqueror responsible for mass killings. However, in Mongolia, he is revered as the founding father of the nation, while in China, he is acknowledged as the founder of a dynasty. Many people in both countries still seek blessings from his legacy. Historians describe Genghis Khan as a physically powerful, determined, and strong-willed leader. He was known for listening to the advice of those around him, including his mother and wife. He was also highly adaptable, able to adjust his tactics as needed, and understood the value of loyalty. Additionally, he had a spiritual side, and in times of crisis, he would respectfully pray to Tengri, the deity he believed in. There is one famous quote that Genghis Khan is said to have told his enemies, "I am the flail of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." That was a brief background of Genghis Khan, the undefeated warrior. Support this channel by subscribe and stay tuned for the next video.